The background section is the one that includes work experience, education, license, and so forth here. You can use as many of these as you want or feel necessary, but there's some specific things I want to show you about them. Let's start with work experience. This is where you add in your employment. For those of you that already have a LinkedIn profile, or if you're going to have connections already and you want to add things to it, here's a little tip for you to not drive your network nuts. This little thing that comes up here, share with network, when you start adding several things into your profile, let's say that you have a bunch of new certifications and a couple of jobs you want to update your existing profile with. What I suggest is that you shut this off while you're adding all those things. Because each time you add something new, you've probably seen this if you're on LinkedIn, you'll get a notification, hey, thank Joe or congratulate Joe on his new certification. And so you can imagine if you did 4 or 5 or 6 of those and you kept sending these out, it would get a little annoying. So, the big thing to keep in mind is to make sure that your work experience that you put on your LinkedIn profile matches in terms of the job title, company, work location, and dates, the same as your resume. But what you don't want to do is just copy and paste your resume into the LinkedIn profile. Nobody's going to go down through there and read an entire profile that's that long. Think in terms of the resume and the LinkedIn profile working together. You want to highlight the more important things, and I'll show you what I mean here. So let's start with a job here. Let's assume that this was your most recent job. Let's change this to present. This is just a dummy set of resume things that I'm using for the purpose of this. So you would put the same job title. Whatever you choose, make sure it's the same. If you want to get specific, you could put things like full-time if you wanted to. Now, for the company name, some people will just cut and paste the name in there, and some companies this will work with. Now what you see here is all these blue boxes on the side are representative of the company's logo. And the reason you see that is because you're not matching what the company put in there. So what I suggest you do is back off here until you see the logo appear. Now, this particular case, because they were bought out by somebody else, it may not appear anymore. But if you were using something else, like, say, KBR, and you can see here you got a couple different versions of this. But if you had put, say, KBR LLC, it may not have come up, that sort of thing. So always just try to back off what you've written in there until you see the logo appear. Another good example is a military, like if you're adding a branch of the military. So for example, you want to put Army. You might be on your resume have U.S. Army like this. Then you would see it come up without the periods. So that's what you would use to get the logo when you save it. But let's go back here. Let's assume, just for keeping this looking good, that it's KBR. So you would choose that. On the location, use what you have on your resume. And it'll give you a lot of different options for things. What these mean when they come up is that others have used those. But you can put in there what you want. If you're currently working there, so let's say we're using this August 2015. So you would put August 2015, and if you're still there, it'll ask you, do you want to update your headline? Since you've already put the work in to get the headline right, unclick that. If you want to add, like we talked before, media and so forth that would show up under that, you could put that in there as well. So under description, this is where you would add in what you choose off the resume. What I suggest is that if you want to put in maybe a sentence, something that kind of encapsulates what you do. But the more important thing is the key achievements. So you could pick one or two of those and keep the key achievement word in there. And then save. They've started doing this and it's kind of annoying, but so your current job would show up here. You can have the option of removing that if you want, and that would be under the editing, under the pencil there. So now you go down here and you got your first job in there. And if you wanted to, let's just use, for example, the file I did before. You know, let's say you had some sort of report that you wanted to put under there. You could put a little description. I did this and won an award, whatever, something like that. Save, and it would show up under there. So what you could do is highlight things that show you did something really amazing. Again, working in keywords that you've already developed and trying to show what you're trying to become.